Hello beautiful people, so today we'll be doing that style. So the first thing we're going to cut is the bustier, the upper part. Okay, so for the bustier, for the beginner, I'm going to draft everything, and instead, here is the off shoulder I'm supposed to take off some, but I'll draft the whole full sleeve so that they can learn. So for chest line, we have a formula that's our bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. So I have 8 inches. Then I'm going to be sloping her shoulder by 1, so I'll add it to the chest line, because if I remove it, it's going to be short. So I'll add it. That's 9, and we're going to take 9 round. That's 9 here as well. We have 9. Then after the 9, that's the chest line. I'm going to take my, you see it, I'm going to take my bust point. My bust point, the one I'm working with, is 11.5. then 11.5. Then I'm going to take the under bust, which is 14.5. then the half scale, which is 17. then half inch for seam allowance. So I'll connect it and draw it to a straight line. So that's it. So I have drafted this. I have formed a straight line. So this is my chest line, this is my bust point, my under bust, and my half length. I don't like to use marker to draft because marker tends to increase my measurement, but I hope you can see it. So from here, I'm going to take my shoulder measurement. Our shoulder is 16 divided by 2, we have 8. Then I'm going to add half inch. Then we'll come here also on the chest line, put your shoulder measurement, as you can also call it your back. So put your back measurement. Then we'll move to, so let's connect it into a straight line. So after connecting it, I will slope the shoulder by 1. Then I'll take my 3 by 3 standard measurement. 3 by 3. That's it. Then I'll connect it. Since I'm working with the front, so I'll be drafting the back here. So I'll come here, I'll take the midpoint, that's 4 inches. Then I'll go in by half an inch. So I'll draft my armhole. I'm going to leave it here. So while I put my bust measurement. So my bust divided by 4, we have 9.65. So that's 9.65 is somewhere around there. This one. After the 9.5, then this one. So 9.65. So this is my 9.65 here. So then I'll connect my armhole. Okay, so that's that about that. So my bust point, that's my nipple to nipple, is 8 divided by 2. Then we have 4 inches. So because I don't want to be adding seam allowance when I'm cutting it, so I'll just add half inch here on the paper. So that's going to be 4.5. Then 4.5 on my bust point. 4.5. Then I'll connect a straight line. Then I'll come here as well. I'll get the midpoint. The midpoint should be like 8.5. So sorry, 5.5. So 5.5 should be 2.75. Then I'll connect to the bust point. Then after that, then for our bust side is 38.5. I like to take half an inch here on this side. I'll take half an inch on this side. Then I'll use the cut part to connect this one. So let me just use my armhole curve. Then I'll use a straight line here. I'll use this. So for this part, I'll go in by 1.5. So in total, I took 2 inches for both sides. So that's 1.5. I'm sorry, I was out of focus. So I'll take 1.5 here, then I'll take 1.5 here on this side too. So I'll be connecting this one with the straight line, then I'll use the curve to connect this one. Do we see? So after that, you know, it's an off shoulder, but before I move to the upper part of it, let me input my measurement here. So waist is 34 divided by 4. I have 8.5. 34 divided by 4, I have 8.5. That's my waist, 8.5. So remember, I added 2 inches here, so I'll put it back. So that's 1 and 2, that's 10.5. So whatever I have here, 10.5, I'll add it on the under bust as well. It's the same measurement, so that's 34. Then my bust here, I'm still going to leave it. So then of course I'm going to add seam allowance for joining it. I already have half here, so I'll just put 2 inches for seam allowance, 2 inches. Then this one, 2 inches for seam allowance. So that's 2 inches for seam allowance. Hey, I hope you can see it. So it's off shoulder. So before I draft the upper part, whatever I have for my bust point to my under bust is 3. That's 11 and I here 3. So I'll come and mark the 3 here too. So depending on how much cleavage you want to show. So this is just like a guide to let you know where my bust is. To let you know how full my bust is. So the bust is all here. So this is, so now I'll go up by 1 inch. Okay, let me just do, I don't know, I'm just confused. Let me see. Okay, let me go by 1 inch because I don't want too much cleavage to show. I'll go by 1 inch. That's from this one. So it shows that I'm going up by 1.5 from the chest line. So it's a round what's it called? It's a round. So this 1.5, I'll take it into a straight line. Yeah, straight line, 1.5, right? So let me just take it to a straight line so that I will not be confused for the beginner. So this is my 1.5. Yes, so this is my 1.5. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tighten this piece. So for tightening, I'll be using 1 inch on both sides. Because it's an off shoulder, you want the place to be firm. I'll use 1 inch, and I'll be using my cuff to connect it to my bust point. So that's me connecting it. Then I'll connect it here too. So after connecting this one, now I will now bring this one from here. It's a round, what's it called? It's a round shape. So I'll just connect it to my back to my chest line like this, using a round. Okay, I can just use my free hand to see what I want, like this. I said I'll just use my curve to see. Okay, let me use this curve to just use it to curve it a bit. So then normally when you are drafting off shoulder, if your shoulder is 8, you can reduce it by, if you did not take it on them, you can reduce it by 2 or 1.5 depending on how broad the front is. So for this person, I'll be taking away 2 inches. So but that's if you are doing off shoulder. You have to reduce your shoulder because it's off shoulder. This kind of dress does not get to the shoulder. So but for her I already have 4 inches here, so you know I'll be taking half for joining, so that's like 3.5. Then from here too I'll be taking half inch for joining it, remember? So this is 4. So from here now, my 3.5, like I said, if I want to take 2 inches, so see, so that's like 6. Then remember there's I added half inch already, so let's say this is 6.5. But looking at the style, this other part just have like 1.5 inch for the, what's it called, for the sleeve, for the strap. So I won't be taking this in now, so I'll just take, so from here I'll just take 2 inches. That's 1 and 2. It stops here. That's 3.5. That's 4.5, 5.5. That's 2 inches. It stops here, and I can decide to add the half inch, but I'll just stop from the 2. So at least half inch, I'll be left with 1.5. So these 2 inches, it includes the joining, as in the turning with the lining. I hope you understand. But if you have any question, just drop it in the comment section. So this is 2 inches. That's 1. That's 2 inches. So from here, still I'll just curve it. I'll still maintain my hammer. So now, whatever I have here, my bust is 9.5. I think it's 9.6. Yes, 9.6. That's 38.5 divided by 4. So we have 9.6. This is it. Then whatever I have here, this is like 1 inch. I'm going to return my 1 inch here. Then I'm going to add the joining allowance, so I'll be adding 3 inches. So I'll connect it with this one. So then whatever I have on my bust point and my chest line, just take it down to your bust point as well. That's 13.7. Take it down to your bust point, so you connect it. So from the bust point to the under bust. So this is what we have. So this is what we'll be cutting out. If you don't want your bust to be revealing, you can go up a bit by 1/2 inch, but I'll just leave it this way. So I hope you see my drafting. So I will draft the back. I want to use this part to draft the back, but I won't be adding the zipper allowance because it will be enough for the zipper allowance. So I'll just take my shoulder, then I'll come back and show you what I did. So for the back, I didn't do anything. Like I said, I just for the beginner, that's why I'm doing this one. So I just put my shoulder measurement, that's 8 divided by 2 plus 5, that's 8.5, and I did the same thing on my on the chest line. So if I was doing a clothes that have a armhole, I'll just come down by 1, then take my neck measurement and draw my armhole. But because I'm not doing that here, and I'm not even adding that to it, so I just strapped it. So since it's the back is just low, it's not going to, if it was off shoulder that has armhole, I might actually create an armhole here. That's what I'm doing here. Just create an armhole here if it's going to have sleeve, but because it's not going to have sleeve, it's just a strapless. How will I say it? I'm going to be adding strap. Then another thing I said, let me explain, is that this front now, remember that so we're going to cut this one out. This is how we're going to cut it. So this one that I have here, you have to measure it because you'll be using it to cut your strap. So I have 7 inches here. Then for the back, I'm going to be having 9 inches here. Yes, 9 inches. Yes, I think 9 inches. I'm going to be having 9 inches here. So by the time I add 9 to 7, it's going to give me 16. So when I'm cutting, I have to cut that straight line. And if I want it to, how do they call it? If I want it to be, it's not going to be giving me a headache. So from here, I'll just mark what did I want? Like 1.5. Then I connect here. Then this one too, I'll do my neck. This thing, the neck slope. So I'll join it together, so that when I'm cutting, but instead of that, I'll just cut it on a bias so that it will be stretchy. I'll cut that same 16 on a bias. So that's what I'm going to do. So for the back, it's just straight down. It's not, it's just the front that will have this a bit because of this strap I'm going to be putting inside, but the back is just straight. So I'm only going to, I have different ways of doing my basic bodies, but this is what I'm going to do. I didn't use bust that here, remember. So, and this is 17 and 17, I added half an inch. So if I do this 17, it's going to be too much for my back. There's going to be zipper bulge, and it's not going to relax well. So this is what I usually do. If the back to the front is not too much, I'll just come up by 1 inch here. Of course, I'm going to, you know, there's no zipper allowance, so when I'm cutting on fabric, I'll be adding my zipper allowance. I just want to manage this paper, so I'll be adding seam allowance, zipper allowance. So the first thing I'm going to do is come in here by 1 inch. I'll connect it back to my chest line. Then I'll also go up by 1 inch. So by the time I do that, my back will be coming like 16 and my front will be coming like 17, but the size still remain 17. But if I was using a bust that, the difference between the back and the front is 1.5. So if I was using a bust that, I would have added my bust that here, then reduce this. But I have different ways of doing it. I do bust that too, but this is what I want to do for this one. I'll be reducing this one by 1 inch and this one by 1 inch. So this 1 inch is going there, and on the skirt too, I'll reduce it by half an inch, since you know now I said it's 1.5 the difference. So my skirt too, I'll reduce half an inch and connect it back, so the size still remain the same, but the back length is reduced. So let me do that and show you. So this is what I'm saying. So I reduce it by 1 inch, I connect it back here, so the back will still be the same thing. Do you see? Then for this one, I reduce it by 1 and I connect it here. So I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to cut this out. Do you understand? So let me cut it out. So this is the back. So on this back, I've added seam allowance. I'm going to add seam allowance to join the lining. Then I did have side allowance because there was no space for the paper, so I added it. I'm going to add seam allowance, side seam allowance, that's 2 inches. Then I'm going to be, there's no allowance here because I already had it. Then this one I'm going to be adding my zipper. So this is the up, this is the top, so you have to label it so you're not confused. Then this is the front, it's going to be on fold. I'm just going to add half here because of the lining, and so this is my front pattern. I'm going to be adding half only on this one. I've added half when I was drafting it, so that's for it. So I'm going to draft the skirt. Then remember to keep this one so that you'll be able to know the number of, this is 7 and this is 9. Just keep it so that you know what to do. So let me draft the skirt. Okay, so I've used a lining, so they add half an inch I said for the lining, then half an inch. I forgot to do this. Anytime you are doing bustier or corset things like this, when it comes to curve, you need to blend it or else it will be longer than each other. But see, it's not much, so I corrected it when I was cutting my lining. So do you see? So always try and, but if not, you can just trim it off. So then this is for the back. I added the seam allowance, added half inch here. There's no seam allowance here. Then this is my zipper allowance. Then after that, we move to the skirt. So I've drafted my skirt. If you don't know how to draft skirt, I have a skirt tutorial, but I can do updated one if you want. So this is my skirt. So if you see from that style, then we have the first skirt. So the first skirt for me, I've already write it out. It's going to be like what did I write out? Okay, it's going to be 18 inches, while the second one will be 18 and the third one will be 18. So because after the first one, a flare was attached, but I won't be cutting a flare. I'll be cutting a long strip like this. Whatever I have on whatever I cut, I'll multiply it by 2 or 3 depending on how many fabric I have. So the first one is going to be 18, excluding the, my seam allowance. So I'm going to mark 18 here. Can we see it? So the first one is 18 inches. So I'm going to mark 18 inches here. 18, I need the allowance. So 18, this is my 18 inches. Sorry, 18 and a half. I'll be marking half inches for joining. 18 and a half. So I'll cut it out. Then the second one is going to be 8. 8, that's 16. Okay, fine. So it's going to be 8 and pleats. So okay, so when I was drafting it, I put in consideration the seam allowance. So this point is going to be 18, but I did 18 and a half. So I my half inches here, then my half inches on this upper part too. Then for this down part too, it's supposed to be 7, but my half inch here make it 8. Then this last one is supposed to be 7, so my half inch here, my half inch here make it 8 or so. So I'm going to cut it out. You can either cut out this one, then this one join it on the upper part, but I'll cut it out. I want all the stitch line to be inside, not outside, so I'll cut it out. So for my first flare here, I'll be cutting 10 inches. So that's it. There's going to be flare here, it's going to be 10 inches. So see, by the time I take the half inch for joining, I'm going to be left with 9. Then the second flare as well, so this one is going to be 11. So by the time I have 11 here, so this last one, the flare is going to be 14, because it's the one that will complete my seam. The overall inches I have for the length for the skirt, for the whole dress is 62. So by the time I remove the half length, remove this one, remove this, so the remaining one I'm going to join it to this one, which is 14, including my seam allowance. So by the time I do all those things, I'm going to, so if you have enough fabric, you can cut flare, but I don't have enough, so I'll just be doing whatever I have here. See, I have like 13 and a half, but I added 2 inches for seam allowance. So by the time I remove that, by the time I remove my 2 inches, so whatever I have, let's say I have 11, so 11 multiplied by 4, that's like 44. So 44 times 2, that's going to give me like 48. So whatever I have, I can multiply it by 2 or 3 depending. And if you have enough fabric, you can cut flare. It's going to be beautiful, but I'm going to be using gathers for it. And whatever I have here also, I'll multiply. So when I was cutting my skirt, I put in consideration, if I make it too pencil, she might not be able to walk. So, and this second one falls on the knee. Okay, so if I make it too long, too tight pencil, she might not be able to walk. So I just remove 1.5 for it. Sorry, I removed 1 inch, so it didn't pencil. If you see that it wasn't too, the pencil wasn't too much, but if I wanted to pencil, I could have do 2 and connect it here. So I'll cut this one out. I'll show you the progress, the process. Breathe. So I'm done with the bust here, so you can see, and I've cut the 16 inches. So this is 17. So this is 17. So this is 17. So I'm going to be putting it here. So while I use my lining, this is my lining. I'll use my lining to turn it. So after turning it, I'll bring the back, I'll join it to the back. So that's about that. So for this one, I'll join it to, see, this is my close side. So I'm going to pull it inside like this. And just stop stitch on it like this. And just stop stitch on it. So this is the back. I'll use my nipple to nipple. That's my dart. So I think it's 4. Yes, 8 divided by 2, that's 4. So from the 4, I will join this other one too. I use that to turn it. So for this other one, so for the skirt, this is the front skirt, because I want to use this lining to turn it so that I can have my face. That's why I've not joined this one. Okay, so that's for the, before I now join the, so before I join the skirt like this, so I'll use the lining of the skirt to close the rough edges. So that's why I want to put the sleeve before I cut, before I use this one to cover it. Then I use the lining to cover it. So remember that we cut out all these ones, I don't know, we joined it. So remember we cut all this one, and when I was doing it, I labeled it the number 1, the up and the down, so I won't be confused. So this is the up and this is the down, and this is the number 3. So I have my number 2 here. So this is number 2. So this is my number 2. So whatever what I got here, I multiply by 2. So that is what I use in cutting this. So I'm just going to run a gather stitch and put it here. So I'll join this one and this one together for the first layer. Then I also cut the other one. So whatever you get here, if you have enough fabric, like I said, you can cut a flip. But if you don't have, just cut a straight line. Multiply it by 2 or 3, depending on how much fullness you want to achieve. So after this one, the next thing you'll be seeing is the final product, the finished product. Alright, bye bye.